Hi, welcome back, you beautiful souls. This is going to be part one to what if Deku had Chrono Lock as a quirk. In the last part, we left off where it was basically at the start of the anime, and Izuku, like during the past couple of months, has been thinking of different ways to use his quirk, and Katsuki has seen drastic improvements. And when I say drastic, basically take Katsuki where he is in canon right now in the anime, and that's where he's at now because he's had the influence of Izuku. Izuku's basically been telling me, it's like, yo, like train like this, like use your quirk like this, because for some weird reason, Izuku doesn't even know this himself. He's just thinking, is like, oh my god, like what? This is like he doesn't understand where all of these ideas and thoughts and everything, the intelligence that he's starting to exhibit, it's getting progressively more and more and more, and he doesn't understand why. And he's just constantly coming up with new ways to use his quirk, and then he sees Bakugo struggling, and he's like, Katsuki, you should do this, you should do that. And so they both have, over the past 5 years of their life, have done some intensive training without their parents knowing how hard they are. They know they've been like going to like a gym with each other, and Mitsuki and Inko are kind of happy at this because Izuku and Katsuki they're not necessarily like buddy chum with each other. Like they're, how would I put it? Imagine if you mixed Goku's personality in with these two. Like they both like have come to this where they constantly are wanting to like fight each other to like see who's better. And over a couple of months, like after like the fight when they were kids, Katsuki really improved, learned a couple different styles of like fighting, and now he's been able to he beat Izuku in one of their sparring matches, and Izuku's like, huh, you did that with your quirk, why don't you do this? And then the next time they spar, Izuku wins. And so they're constantly going back and forth now, because now they're rivals. Like they want to be better than the other, and so they are constantly improving themselves. Like they are working out, they are jogging, they go for morning runs in the morning, and in their jogs in the morning that they tell their parents, they're actually racing each other, getting faster, stronger. Like so they're building up athletic bodies. They're really hitting like this training and rivalry really hard with each other, because neither one wants to be outdone by the other. So they have a friendly rivalry amongst the two of them. And throughout the neighborhood and everything, everyone everyone every once in a while will like see the two like running by, and they'd be like, "Oh, those two are at it again. Looks like they're having fun again today," because they're just smiling, like talking back to each other. It's like, "Oh, you think that's fast? Watch this." And then so during this training, Katsuki learns how to like do like the explosion, like where he uses explosions to like accelerate. And he's done it a couple of times, and then pros have like stopped them, told them not to use their quirks. And then the next day, Zuko does it with his chrono bubbles, like basically using, like putting a chrono bubble around like his legs and stuff, and then around like his feet, and just moving, using like his ability to move the chrono bubbles at a rate just to increase his speed and everything, which also in turns gives him more calisthenic training, so his muscles are building up. So has Katsuki's, because through the training that he's been doing with the Izuku, where he's been doing the explosions and everything, he's been slowly working up like his resistance to the explosions. So he's going to be able to do larger and more powerful explosions. So we get to the start of the anime, and And the teacher does like the whole thing where he throws the papers up, and Katsu's like, "Teach, you can't lump us two into this. You can't lump me into this group, bunch of losers." And then he kind of glares at Izuku, and Izuku just gives him like a glare back, and the teacher's like, "Well, and Katsu's like, I'm going to UA, and these losers wouldn't even be able to get in." And then he looks back at Izuku again, and he's like, "Well, maybe one of you losers will be able to get in," kind of smirking. And the teacher's like, "Well, you do have good grades, and there's also another student." And everyone in the class kind of turns to Izuku. They're like, because they know Katsuki and Izuku are strong. They're the two smartest kids in the school. They have like the most powerful quirks in the school, so these two definitely will succeed. So Katsuki, like after class and everything, he jokingly goes to like destroy like the notebook Izuku's thing in, and Izuku doesn't even look up, and Katsuki just freezes like from like the neck down, and he's like, "Damn nerd, I thought you knew I was coming, didn't you?" And Izuku just kind of looks up and he's like, "Kachan, I thought you weren't going to do this stuff anymore." And both Katsuki and Izuku start laughing. Everyone's kind of looking at these two like, man, these two are freaking crazy. Like, and some of the kids that have known them like a good while, for several years, have like made, like, as they're leaving, like made comments like, "Whoa," and well, Izuku definitely has changed. Like, wow. So Katsuki's like, you want to hit like the gym or go to the arcade?" And at this time, Katsuki's other friends come up and they're like, "Why don't we go to the arcade?" And Izuku's like, "Well, I have some things I want to work on. I'm thinking about just going home like early today." So Izuku spends like a couple minutes at the school, just trying to think, like just thinking, and he's like, "Wow, I'm almost done with this place. Maybe I should do something for this place once I become a pro." And it isn't like a question of if Izuku can become a pro, it's a matter of when he'll become a pro, or how long it's going to take him to become like the number one. Because that's like, it's kind of like Asta and Yuno. Like, they're not really like, but they're not friends. Like, Asta and Yuno wanting to be the Wizard King, Izuku and Katsuki want to be the number one hero. And Izuku was like, actually had been thinking all day. It was like, why can't we just both be the number one hero? Like, and everything. So Izuku is really thinking about this, and on his walk home, like the sludge villain attack happens, and Izuku, the sludge villain goes to like attack Izuku, and Izuku just turns his head and is like, "Oh crap," and just goes and freezes the sludge villain mid-attack. And Izuku's like, "Oh god, I can't." It's taking a lot of concentration to keep him in place. That's a little bit of a mess. And I haven't done this long. I feel like if I move, I'm gonna like this. Hopefully, like someone comes by, I can tell him to go get a hero. And he's just thinking about this. Like, should I just take this guy? Like, but if I go through the streets, people will freak out. It'll cause panic and everything. And all these thoughts are going through his head, and he's mumbling and everything. And then he looks up at the sludge villain, and he's like, "And you, be quiet in there." And the sludge villain's like, because Izuku has basically kind of created a force field around this thing, but he's in a stasis ability, but the guy's still able to talk. And a couple minutes pass by, and excuse me, and All Might arrives, and he's like, "There's no reason to fear. I am here." "Young man, what? You took down this villain all on your own?" And Izuku's like, "Well, he's like, well, it's not like that. And then he turns on, and he's like, oh my god, All Might, um, crap. And the sludge villain like breaks free a little bit. And then he's like, oh shit, sorry, All Might. Um, is there any way you can like deal with this guy, because I'm almost at my limit to where I can hold him in place? But not really. Izuku is just he's just kind of playing it off. And almost like, that's alright, boy. You can release him now. I'm here. Just stand behind me. And he does a Mississippi Smash, basically like decapitating the sludge villain over the places. And Izuku's like, whew, thank you, All Might. Also, All Might, can I get your autograph? Like, you're my favorite hero. I want to be just like you. And so over the time, and then All Might goes to like leap off, and then Izuku's like, wait, All Might, I have a question. I have a few more questions after it. And he's like, young man, I'm sorry, I have to go. And All Might leaps off, and then All Might turns around, and he sees Izuku following him, because he's put a Chrono bubble on both his hands and feet, and he's pretty much learned how to fly. Because he's able to move his Chrono bubbles and any matter inside them to distances. And it isn't like he can, like, if he wanted to, he could rip someone's arm off with it, but he's figured out how to use his quirk to essentially fly. It's not really flying, it's more like he's moving his body with it. And All Might is kind of startled, and this causes him to drop the sludge villain, and All Might lands on the roof, and All Might turns around to him, and he's like, Izuku lands right next to him, and he's like, I'm sorry, All Might, like, I didn't mean to, like, startle you back there, but, like, I really have a question to ask you. And he's like, well, okay, young man, what's your questions? And Izuku's like, well, do you think it's possible for me to, like, become, like, the number one hero? Like, I know I can be a pro, but I don't know how good of a pro I can be. And All Might's like, well, you seem to have a really strong quirk. What exactly is it? Like, it seemed like you had, like, a bubble-type quirk. And Izuku's like, oh, my quirk's called Chrono. I can create these. And he basically creates, like, a bubble. And he's like, I can adjust, like, time and stuff. I can, like, create a stasis bubble, basically. And I can move him around at will. And All Might's like, he's thinking, shit. And it basically falls into Small Might form, and Izuku's like, wait, are you really All Might? Or are you just trying to, like, trick me? And All Might, like, reassures Izuku that he is indeed All Might. And he goes in to explain that, and then he explains, like, about 5 years ago, he was involved in a fight, and he got injured pretty bad, showing Izuku the wound and everything. And Izuku's like, oh my god, that's horrible. Was it the chainsaw guy? And All Might's like, well, you know pros very well, don't you? Well, it wasn't him. That chum could never hurt me this bad. It was a fight with a villain that we kept out of the public, because you seem like a smart kid. You probably understand. And he's like, yeah, if it got out that you were hurt or injured and now you have a timeline, it'd be mass panic. And then Izuku thinks, and he's like, wait, All Might, I think I can help you out. And All Might's like, what do you mean? And then Izuku basically, he creates a Chrono Lock bubble around All Might completely, and basically rewinds his body back 7 years. And when All Might comes, and when he releases All Might, he's allowed All Might to keep the knowledge of like basically all the knowledge and experience of it, because Izuku has complete control over these of the space within inside these bubbles that he creates. Like he can control the time within inside the space, and All Might's like coughs a little bit when he comes out of it, and then like he buffs back up, and he feels down on his side, and he's like, whoa, I feel amazing. And Izuku's like, well, All Might, I couldn't get you back to before you, but I didn't think I should go back any further than what it was. And Izuku, because you didn't say the exact date, so I just said, you know what, let's just go back 7 years. Let's just turn him back 7 years. And All Might is like back to 100%, and he's like, young man, like, what? And this is when Izuku's like, well, I use my chrono lock, and so with inside my bubbles I create, I can control the time, like all time, like time and space within inside those bubbles. And if I choose, so I can, whatever I do inside those bubbles, I can release it, and the effects can stay even afterwards. And All Might's like, whoa, kid, well, you definitely would be able to become a number one hero. And at this moment, Izuku and All Might hear an explosion, and All Might's like, crap. He's looking around, and then no, we're not gonna do that. They hear, like, they part ways, and All Might's like, well, I've got to go get the sludge villain. And then Izuku looks down at it, and it's like, wait, what sludge villain? Like, where's the bottles you put him in? And All Might like pats down. He's like, crap. And then All Might's like, well, kid, I guess I'm back on the hunt. And thank you. I would like to speak with you again, kid, but I definitely gotta track this villain down. And so All Might leaps off in search of the villain. And when Izuku, like, he basically does like his chrono bubble trick and floats down to like the street level and begins to walk. He hears an explosion, and he's like, whoa, what's that over there? So he goes to check it out. He's like, well, maybe there's like pros again. And like, wow, I just met All Might, and he said I could be a hero, and I'd possibly be the number one hero. Wow. If I'm going to be the number one hero, I've got to see how other pros fight, and not just All Might. And so he goes and walks over to and he's noticing. He's like, whoa, like, could that be? No, Katsuki would never do something like that. And he sees a large crowd, and then when he gets there, he sees the villain, and people are saying he's got a kid hostage and everything. And Izuku's like, wait, why aren't the pros doing anything? And then he sees the villain, and he's like, wait, he escaped, and no, if it wasn't for me, I'm the one that caused this. I can't. And then he sees who the sludge villain has, and he says, no, it's Katsuki. I definitely gotta act now. So he basically runs past the heroes, and they're like, kid, get out of there. You're gonna get yourself killed, kid. You can't handle this. A kid can't handle a villain like this. And Izuku turns and smiles and is like, I've got this. And then he yells out, he was like, ha ha, Katsuki, you done gone and got yourself caught by a villain. This chump, I took him out within a split second, and you've been going at this for like, what is it now? 10, 15 minutes now? You should be ashamed of yourself. You called yourself my rival. And everyone's shocked at this. They're like, wait, he knows that kid? And then they're like, wait, what is his quirk? And then as soon as someone says that, Izuku raises his hand up, and the sludge villain's like, stay away from me. No, don't do it. And boom, Chrono Bubble around Kotsky, and like he raised both of his hands, a Chrono Bubble around Kotsky, and a Chrono Bubble around the sludge villain, separating the two, pulls them apart, and puts and drops Kotsky. Kotsky's like sitting there gasping for breath, and Izuku's just standing there holding this thing. And he's like, aren't you pros gonna do something about this? Don't you guys have a containment or something for this dude? And then Kotsky like comes running up and he's like, you damn nerd, I didn't need your help. I was about to and then Izuki turns to him and he's like, you know, if you would have created an explosion that big, it would have like destroyed like part of the block. And Kotsu's like, yeah, but when I saw you, I knew you'd be able to repair the damage of whatever I did around, okay? I was kind of thinking like something like this, you would be coming, it would attract you, and I knew whatever I did, you would be able to fix. And Izuku's like, yeah, but you know that, you know, Kotsky, that's, you can't always count on me to do stuff like that, man. God. And then eventually All Might like arrives, and he's like, he did see all of this from a distance, and he's like, whoa, this kid's crazy. So the heroes come in, they tell Ezekiel, they kind of like tells Kotsky that he has a good quirk, and he's very skilled to be able to survive that long. And then they tell Izuku's like, even if your quirk was suitable for this, you shouldn't have acted like that. Like, you could have gotten yourself seriously hurt him. And this is when Kotsky's like, man, shut up, posers. Like, if it wasn't for him, I probably would have destroyed the block and half, like, a quarter of the building that was next to us. If it wasn't for him, like, whatever. Midoriya, let's get out of here. And so they leave, and like in canon, like Izuku and Kotsky are, well, not like in canon, but Izuku's like walking home and Kotsky's with him. And the whole time they're just talking, and Kotsky's like, dude, when did you learn how to do that? I thought you couldn't do something like that. And Izuku's like, well, just like you, I've been hiding a few things from you. I've been training without you. And Kotsky begins to laugh, and he's like, so I guess I wasn't the only one. And he's like, so you seen mine, are you going to show me yours? And Kotsu's like, nope, you're just going to have to find that out later. And Izuku's like, oh, you jerk. And they do fist bump, and they split ways. And then All Might comes out, and he's like, young Midoriya, I didn't have a chance to talk to you back there at the sludge villain, like the second time. You have a really powerful quirk, and you have the heart of a hero. I saw what you did. You acted without, it seemed like you acted without thinking. And Izuku's like, oh yeah, wait a minute. I actually did plan out everything. And All Might's just in utter shock. He's like, wait, you planned all that, what to do in that short amount of time? And Izuku's like, yeah, like I don't know how to explain it, but my quirk has a secondary effect to where like it boosts my cognitive ability, so I'm able to think faster. It doesn't give me super intelligence, but I'm pretty sure if I like read a bunch of books and stuff, I'd be able to I'd get smarter than what I am now. But I've kind of been working more on like controlling my quirk and my chrono bubbles. And almost like, young man, that's amazing. Well, I wanted to speak with you, and I didn't really have the time because I would have talked with you more after that. But like the sludge villain like escaped and everything, and that was more pressing than this. But how would you like to be my successor, young Midoriya? And Izuku's thinking, it's like, well, that would be great, but what do you mean by a successor? You know, it's like, well, I would like to pass my quirk on to you. One of the reasons why I came here. I've been looking for a successor ever since the injury, but since you fixed me up, I pretty much would like to I would like to give you my quirk. And Izuku's like, wait, you can pass your quirk on? And All Might's like, yes. My quirk, as you've known, like, isn't really known, and I've avoided talking about it in interviews and everything. So again, young man, would you like to inherit my quirk? And he's like, yeah, I definitely would, but I think my quirk's like really strong, and my friend, like, you probably saw him, like, he could probably use it more than me, because I don't think there's a limit to like how strong my quirk will get. But with Katsuki, he's kind of limited on his body and like his explosion quirk. And All Might's like, how about this, young man? You and your friend come by at Dagobah Beach, and I'd like to train you guys. And Izuku's like, really? That's awesome. That would definitely help us get into UA. And All Might begins to laugh, and he's like, so you guys want to go to UA? Well, definitely. If your friend is anything like you, I'm definitely sure with a little bit more training, especially if I give you guys some pointers, you will definitely make it to UA. So Izuku like goes home, and Inko's like, she comes like running to the door, and he's like, Izuku, are you okay? I saw the news. Like, is everything? Are you definitely okay? And Izuku's like, Mom, I'm fine. But more importantly, I met All Might, and he's offered to train me. And so Izuku is knows the thing, and he's like, and so I'm going to be late home for the next couple of months. And Inko's like, okay, sweetie, it seems reasonable. And I understand how much you idolize All Might, but just be careful, okay? Make sure you don't overdo anything in your training. And Izuku's like, that's fine, but... And then he's like, he gets to his room, and he has like a grin on his face, and he calls Bakugo up, and he's like, yo, man, meet me out at the street, out at the bus station tomorrow. There's someone that I think you would want to meet. And Katsuki's like, what are you talking about, nerd? What? And he's like, come on, man, like, you definitely won't be disappointed with it. Just do it. And so Katsuki agrees. So the next morning, they meet up at the train station, because, like, I'm going to say this is like another weekend, and they show up, and Katsuki's like, so where's this person that you wanted to meet? And then all of a sudden, there's a thump behind them, and All Might's like, do not fear, for I am here. And Izuku and Katsuki turn around, and Katsuki starts like fanboy out a little bit, because he's not as into All Might as Izuku is, but he still thinks All Might is like the pinnacle of a hero. And Izuku was like, see, I told you you'd want to meet this person. And Katsuki's like, dude, you could have told me it was All Might, and I would have agreed immediately. And Izuku like gives him a grin, and he's like, yeah, but what kind of fun would that be? And Katsuki basically like walks over to him and like punches him in the arm, and is like, dude, whatever. So, and then he's like, so All Might, why did you want us to be here? And then Izuku grins again, and then All Might's like, you didn't tell him, did you, young Midoriya? And All Might's like, well, young Bakugo, because Izuku did mention to his friend to All Might the previous day, and he's like, young Bakugo, I want to train you too. And so they'll begin their training this is going to be the beginning of the 10-month training arc. So this is coming up on 30 minutes, and I will go over the 10-month training arc in the next video, because there is a good deal of stuff that I need to go over, and I don't feel like doing a 1-hour video. So I will see you beautiful souls in the next part. like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already done so.